Welcome YouTube and fellow Star Wars collectors. On this episode of Toys Are the Way, we will be taking a look at the Star Wars Vintage Collection Imperial TIE Fighter. During this video, we'll take a look at this vehicle and discuss my quick fix solution for the problematic wing mechanism that you may have heard about or encountered already. We will accomplish this fix without the use of any glue or drastic permanent changes. When the time came for me to fix my TIE Fighter's wings, I could not find much information online that I found very helpful, or didn't simply involve pouring Gorilla Glue into my collectible. Therefore, I wanted to make a video that offered some helpful guidance and an alternative solution to glue. This big wing TIE Fighter was released as a Walmart exclusive back in 2018. It was a re-release of a version we saw in the Legacy Collection in 2009, except with some aesthetic differences. Those differences being the windows of the cockpit no longer having a red tint to them, and the overall color of the fighter is a darker gray instead of white. More importantly, with this version, we get the Vintage Collection packaging that we all know and love. Looking at the box, we have a strong image of the fighter set up in a nice Imperial diorama scene. The classic Star Wars racetrack logo is large and prominent, and in the right bottom corner we have our nostalgic Kenner logo that we all love as well. Above this we have the name of the vehicle, and a circular graphic indicating that a pilot figure is included inside. I will say that I'm a big fan of this box and really appreciate the warm, dramatic color palette of the scene. It's definitely a nice addition to add to your collection. But perhaps some collectors would disagree. This vehicle still averages for around the original retail price of $80, which many fans considered high for an item that doesn't offer many new qualities. Taking that into consideration, a number of collectors may have passed on this item given that they already had it or several TIE Fighters in their collection. Or perhaps it's the numerous accounts of the poor quality of the wing mechanism that brings us to the main focus of this video. I've had this vehicle for quite some time now and have finally suffered the dramatic wing malfunction myself. One day, as I was working on some toy photography, I was startled by a thunderous crash that most of us collectors absolutely dread. Looking up at my shelf, I could see my TIE Fighter's wings had finally given out. One of the wings had launched off my shelf and crash landed on a stack of Vintage Collection boxes down below, while the other had smashed into items next to it on my shelf. Fortunately, the cockpit and this wing remained on my shelf and nothing was damaged. Immediately I searched YouTube and online forums for suggestions or solutions to the problem, but to no avail. After some consideration and brainstorming, I've come up with my own simple adjustment that I think works well. Whether you are in the process of fixing your TIE's wings or trying to prevent future disruption to your displayed collection, this tutorial will allow you to attach and remove the wings as you please. The things you'll need for this project are pliers, a pair of scissors, an X-Acto or some type of cutting tool, blue tape, and a ruler. Simple. To begin this project, we will inspect the fighter's wings and spring mechanism. Taking a look at mine, you can see I've already removed the spring inside, showing the plastic clips that lock the wings into place. These clips are controlled by a button and are located on both sides of the vehicle. As experienced by many collectors, the ends have now broken off and no longer lock the wings in place. In order to remove the spring, we will have to get it past this plastic piece securing it inside. I'll visually demonstrate how I did this. Using the set of pliers, grab the top end of the spring firmly. Apply pressure, pulling downward, and attempt to get it past the plastic stopper. Once this is complete, rotate the spring counterclockwise and it will come out easily. Repeat those steps for the opposite side as well. Here you can see the parts that have been removed from the vehicle. We have the set of broken clips which have both broken off in the exact same manner. And our set of springs, which feel very sturdy and were likely adding too much tension over time, causing the plastic to eventually snap. It's not necessary to save these items, but I'm one of those collectors, so I'm storing them away in a plastic bag. Now we can address the wings themselves. We will do so by enhancing them so that they lock into place but are still removable. I'm using blue painter's tape to reduce residue in the future, but any masking tape will work well. You will want a piece that is about 3 inches long. Anything drastically longer or shorter will not work well for this project at hand. Next, I'll use my pair of scissors and remove about 1/3 of the width of the tape. You could just buy a smaller roll of tape, but this is what I had on hand and was a simple solution going forward with this project. Next, pick up your wing and slide the tape in between the central peg and the two plastic wing components. Once in place, begin wrapping it around the peg area smoothly and securely. It's a little awkward to wrap at first, but it shouldn't be too difficult for you to handle. Don't worry about the slot area, as we will cut this section and clean it out with an X-Acto blade in just a moment. As you can see, we're adding just a tiny amount of bulk to the peg by thickening it with a small strip of blue tape. Now we can address the slot area that's been covered up. Take the X-Acto blade and slice the tape along the opening of the peg. Use caution when doing so, since we are using a sharp object. Then use the side of the blade to press the tape down on either side. It should look nice and smooth once you are done, and will allow for a clear opening for the peg to slide into place once we attach the wing. Now that we have one side adjusted, let's repeat the process on our second wing. Again, measure out a 3-inch piece of tape. Using the scissors, cut its width to size, just as we did before. Now take the wing, and we'll apply the tape. Line the tape up properly, and wrap the tape around the peg component. Do this as neatly as possible, and press it down to ensure that it's secured. Moving on, we'll address the slot area that's been covered up. While using caution, carefully slice the tape along the seam. After this has been cut, use the X-Acto blade to press down and smooth out the edges. And here you can see our last and final wing has been adjusted and is ready to be put back onto our TIE fighter. At last we have made it to the final step, assembly. Take one of the altered wings and slide the peg in place. You will instantly notice that the wing fits well but is snug and secure. And as you can see, the wing is locked in place rather well. Take the remaining wing and slide the peg into place to complete the vehicle. Now our TIE fighter is fully assembled, and you can see both wings are secured and in place. I can now display my TIE fighter with confidence and rest assured that it won't randomly explode at any moment, damaging my other collectibles or itself in the chaos. Hopefully Hasbro will either fix the spring issue in the future or abandon that feature altogether. In some ways, it's nice to have this feature that dates back to the early Kenner release, but it's not worth the hassle and inconvenience. I'd much rather see this item retooled with secure wings that clip in place. Furthermore, if they could fold downward like the TIE Outlanders in The Mandalorian, that would be exceptional in my opinion. It would also provide collectors with a new, refreshing take on the big wing TIE. Although it's unlikely that we will see this for quite some time. I'm content with my TIE and relieved that I did not have to resort to gluing the wings in place. I don't think I would have been happy with the outcome, or the reality that I could no longer take the wings off. Having that ability is essential for a vehicle this size and makes collecting and moving a lot easier. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and found this quick fix to be helpful as well. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and feel free to leave any tips or solutions you may have come across yourself. Thanks again for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe. I will have a new vehicle custom video coming out later, so be sure to check that out soon.